This video is here to help you to understand what is the TVS methodology. And really, in some sense, what is a vocal training methodology? Training methodologies, we hear this a lot. It's kind of a popular buzzword in the industry. And one thing that happened with me and TVS is, as I was working on the 4 Pillars of Singing, this book and the techniques and things inside of it, I began to not only understand better what the TVS methodology is, but what a methodology in itself is. And I think this is important information for you to understand as you proceed in your training with the 4 Pillars of Singing. And if you're a potential customer that's looking to do training with TVS, this is also valuable for you to understand. So what is a training methodology in singing technique systems? When you have a product that's a book with a lot of good ideas in it, that's not a methodology. That's just a book with a lot of good ideas in it. And there are some products like that out on the market, and they're good books. I own some of them, but that doesn't make it a methodology. When does a book or a folder full of ideas and good techniques transcend and evolve into a methodology? It does so when, I believe, 2 things happen. Number 1, when the ideas and the techniques inside the training program are unique. When there's innovation inside the program that honestly have never really been tried before, that are original. That's one mark of a methodology. And I believe a methodology also has to have a process, systems and a process for training the content or studying the content. Again, not just a bunch of ideas dumped into a bucket, but ideas that are sorted out, organized, and then as a training singer, you're given instructions on how to train it. The 4 Pillars of Singing, our training program, is not the methodology. That's a product in a training program, but the methodology can be found inside the pages of the program. But let's cut to the chase and talk about those innovative ideas that do make up TVS methodology. Bridging and connecting. Bridging and connecting is not necessarily a technique. It's really a term that refers to an attitude or a belief system or a principle that TVS students and teachers believe in. Bridging and connecting means the ability to phonate and sing, train and sing, a seamless phonation, a seamless vocal tone from your chest voice, or more properly referred to as vibratory mechanism M1, which you'll learn about in the 4 Pillars of Singing, through the vocal break, through the passaggio, where so many of us all the time are having problems with pushing and choking and gripping and things like that, getting through that bridge, or the passaggio, which means passage in Italian, smoothly, seamlessly, without pushing, choking, or quacking like a duck, and then connecting on the other side inside vibratory mechanism M2, or inside a resonant space that has trained M1 or chest voice, belt voice musculature trained and pulled up to higher frequencies. So again, let me try that again in a simpler way. Bridging and connecting simply means to be able to train and sing smoothly from your chest voice through the vocal break into your head voice without pushing, choking, yodeling, instability issues, and making the head voice or the high notes sound strong, convincing, and something that you're proud of and something that the audience is proud of. So bridging and connecting is not actually a technique in itself, but it's more of an attitude or a value statement that myself, the TVS certified instructors, and all of us, all students, hold to be important. Even if you're not aware of it, everybody needs to bridge and connect. In fact, in my opinion, if you're training a program or working with somebody and in the first lesson or two and in the training content that you're working with, if you're not reading or getting exposed to ideas that are oriented around bridging the registers and developing the head voice resonant area, if that's not immediately, obviously, a big part of the mission and the purpose of your training and the reason you're spending money on vocal training, my advice to you would be to turn around, face the door, and run like hell. Because you're probably wasting your time. And I truly mean that. Bridging and connecting the registers is 80% of the sport of singing. That's the main thing. There are other issues that are important in singing technique as well, but if you can't bridge and connect and expand your register and you're pushing, then you can't do anything. So this is important, and TVS teachers and myself make a big deal out of this. If you train with me, this is what we'll be working on. Now let's talk about specialized onsets. Specialized onsets. In regards to specialized onsets, this actually is a set of tangible techniques that are unique to the TVS methodology. Now, I'm going to go into a lot more detail on these onsets because they are so important later on in the training program and in another video. So this is just a surface level explanation, but here's what it is. Onset is a fancy voice lesson talk for basically the start, the beginning, okay? If the onset is good, if the beginning of your training note or your singing note is good, then what follows will be good. On the other hand, if your onset is bad, if the onset has technical components in it that are not balanced, tuned, and calibrated, that you're going to learn about in the TVS training system. Issues such as the embouchure, vocal fold compression, the ability to dampen your larynx, getting your eyes off your shoestrings, having good mental programming, learning to phonate through the proper singing vowels, formant tuning, and other issues. Those are important technical components that make up what we call in TVS an onset package. Now, package just means components inside in a bundle. So at TVS, you train 8 specialized onsets or 8 special ways to begin a training note or a singing note. Now, these 8 specialized ways are designed to help build strength or isolate the musculature to build strength and coordination for your voice. So if you're working to get better compression on your vocal folds, you might do what we call the quack and release onset. If you're working to get your larynx dampened, you might train the dampen and release onset. If you're sounding too quacky or too compressed on high notes, oftentimes women have that problem, you might work on the wind and release onset. If you want to work on belting and getting a big belty chest voice sound on high frequencies, on high notes, you would work on specialized attack and release onsets, which are referring to glottal attacks. So an onset is kind of like a serve. If you're playing tennis, it's the way you begin the note. Now, in addition to isolating strength and coordination with the onsets, as a student and certainly as a TVS instructor, the onsets are used to troubleshoot problems. So through the knowledge and the understanding of how to use these 8 specialized onsets, you can hasten your progress. You can make quicker progress in your training because you have these onsets to fix problems and get stronger. And they are a powerful piece of the TVS methodology. Very important, and it's going to help you get to where you need to go. Everything that you need to train to get strong and coordinated to sing the way you want to sing can be found principally in the onsets. Now let's talk about training workflows. The TVS methodology offers training workflows. Now, what's a workflow? It's pretty simple. Many of you have seen it before. A workflow is just simply step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. It's the sequential steps to any process. We all do this every day in our lives, and with TVS in the training system, I'm going to teach you how to do training workflows. A training workflow is the fastest path, the quickest path from start to finish to, again, get the results that you want in the fastest way. In fact, some of the previously mentioned onsets, the way you learn them is through a training workflow initially. Training workflows are found throughout the system and throughout the methodology. TVS vocal training and the methodology, among other things, is a vocal mode pedagogy. Now, what does that mean? Well, in the last 10 or 20 years in the vocal training technique industry, there's been a massive amount of innovation and great ideas that have come out. One such idea is the idea of vocal modes. Now, it depends on what school you're talking to and who you might be referring to, but basically, vocal mode pedagogic ideas are based on categorizing certain elements of the voice now into groups so that you can understand better what you're teaching and what you're learning. So I'll clarify. In TVS, we are a vocal mode methodology, and we have two kinds of vocal modes, okay? We're the only training program that offers two kinds of vocal modes. The first group of vocal modes are what we call physical vocal modes. Physical vocal modes. The physical vocal modes are 8 unique physical or physiological configurations that the larynx and the muscles in and around the voice can configure into, some of them exotic, some of them more intuitive, to produce a particular sound color or an acoustic effect. For example, what I'm doing right now is a physical vocal mode. It's called speech mode. The way my larynx is configured, okay, for speech is unique. And that's different than the way it is configured for singing. Another example, ha, 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 falsetto is also a vocal mode. The way my voice and my vocal folds are configured and characterized to make that sound has been classified as falsetto vocal mode. In TVS, we have 8 vocal modes: speech, sob, opera, falsetto, belting, twang, distortion, and quack. Those are 8 different ways that the physiology are set up to make different kinds of sound colors and to troubleshoot problems, similar to the onsets. Once you get to know those physical modes, you understand the way the voice works much better and what you can do with it. Now, the other group of vocal modes are, in TVS, we call them acoustic modes. Same idea, groups and categorizing, but acoustic modes are families or groups of vowels that share similar acoustic resonant energy properties. That is to say, where the resonant energy is vibrating in your vocal tract, in your body, and because of that resonant energy, similar sound colors. Again, acoustic modes, groups of singing vowels, not language vowels, but singing vowels that share placement or resonant energy characteristics as well as sound color characteristics. It is a brilliant way to understand vowels in singing. And some of you well know, you've been reading forums and watching videos, you understand that vowels are super important, and indeed they are. The entire process of singing great pretty much starts with the acoustics. If you visualize the proper singing vowels, if you hear those vowels in your auditory imagery first, and then sing your scale or sing your song, the result is going to be successful. And that is what the acoustic modes do for us, is they help me, you, all of us to better understand and sort out the vowels and their different properties, because not every singing vowel is the same. In TVS, we have 3 singing vowels, or 3 vocal mode groups, families. We have edging vowels, which are vowels that tend to resonate more forward in the palate. They engage the twanger more. They engage vocal fold compression a little bit more. And thus, because of that, they tend to create a sound color that's a little bit more metallic. Now, I don't mean the genre heavy metal, but a brighter, more metallic sound, very important for singing rock and belting high notes, edging vowels. On the opposite end of the spectrum, we have an acoustic mode called curbing vowels. Curbing vowels are characterized by resonant energy that tends to sit in a more covered position or back here, low and behind the head. Now, that's not just a new age a concept. It's not an esoteric thing. It's really true. When you get really good at curbing vowels, you do feel a little bit of pressure, a resonant energy low and in the back of the head. They're also characterized by good larynx dampening, and the sound color that curbing vowels produce is warm, bluesy, soulful, sexy. You might use a curbing vowel in a ballad or on low notes or singing jazz, right? So we have edging vowels for more aggressive sounds, curbing vowels for warmer, more romantic sounds. And in the middle, the third TVS acoustic mode is neutral vowels. Neutral vowels, as the name suggests, resonate in the center part of the palate, not too much forward, not too far back, in the middle. And the sound color tends to reflect that middle kind of soft palate position. So that's what acoustic modes are. You have physical modes, the physiology configurations, 8 of them, and you have acoustic modes broken up into 3 families and 8 primary training vowels that exist in 3 acoustic mode groups with TVS.